Well, you've probably had numerous thoughts about anthropology before, but have you ever thought about anthropology in a context of B2B marketing? Probably not, which is exactly what we're going to do now with Claire Denham-Dyson, anthropologist at Demographica, who believes that anthropology and B2B can be in a relationship. But Claire, what does that relationship look like?
It's an interesting relationship. It's, as you say, not something that would be expected. There's actually a move at the moment within anthropology as a discipline to move towards organizational anthropology. So it's looking a lot at how businesses communicate with each other, how people communicate with each other, because at the end of the day, it's people who drive businesses. So anthropology is actually a perfect tool to be able to understand what goes on within the cultures of these businesses. You get so many people speaking about the culture being like the most important factor of a business, and anthropology is really the most pertinent tool to discover what that means.
It can enable businesses to communicate better with one another. In the work that you're doing now, what are you seeing as the very sort of common breakdowns in terms of companies communicating with other companies?
Something that I found really, really interesting when I was getting into this is that again and again you will hear people talk about human relationships and how we have a service crisis in South Africa, service delivery crisis, and how people don't talk to people anymore and it's all about money. More about product, and I think I found that really, really interesting because you don't get that human feeling anymore, especially when you're dealing with large businesses, and the front line, your sales enablement, are the face of your company. So I found repeatedly that those are the people that you really have to invest in order to sell your product, because they know the work that you do and that your consumers looking for better than anyone else. They essentially do the work of anthropology, actually.
Is it ironically about becoming more human in a digital age?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting tension, but it's also funny because I suppose digital is becoming a lot more humanized and more humane. I think those two things need to live, together to kind of complement each other. And yeah, maybe a little bit ironic, but it's the only way. It's singularity, right? We're all going there at some stage. Yeah.
Let's talk about clients being open to it, and clients being open to somebody like you coming into an organization and expressing the value proposition. Are South African companies open to anthropology and B2B coinciding?
I think it's a bit of a mind jump for a lot of companies that we speak to. It's so important for us to have clients that are open and willing to share with us, to give us information, because obviously we're going out there and we're speaking to either their potential clients or their current clients, and having that client of ours take us along the way and kind of get involved in the journey is incredibly important. So they're not 100%, I think, they're not yet immersed in what the process is of doing anthropology. It's not very common here, although it's common globally. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I encourage everyone to get curious, because I think that's really what anthropology is about. And if you want to know more about the businesses that you are working with, then you need to be able to open your own doors and kind of have a methodology of transparency that's going to allow for more communication.
It's important to get curious, and it's important to be aware of what you're getting curious about. And I know that one of the big misconceptions is this differentiation between psychology and anthropology. So let's just, for the last time ever, break down the difference between the two, specifically in this context.
Well, marketing, it pretty much comes from psychology. It's got its roots in psychology. So a lot of the time we see either marketers or our clients speaking about things like drivers and triggers and what's the target market's mindset. Anthropology is not concerned with that. Sure, you're going to speak to how it affects the way people think and what their contexts are, but it's really about the culture. So it's rooted in behaviors, in what people do. And I think an incredibly important differentiator is that anthropology seeks to describe and identify nuance, and psychology is about factoring things down into generalizations. Not that I'm speaking ill of it, because I'm also studying that, but we have to be aware of the difference, because you're looking for two different things, So I think it's important to have both. You need to know what your target market's mindset is, but that's not what anthropology is going to tell you.
Claire, let's get the final power line. If you're in the B2B marketing space, why you should look at anthropology in a different light?
I think you have to consider your target market from all angles. as I said before. And I think looking at the behaviors of an organization, the values that drive that, and how that helps you communicate and resonate with your audience, there's only really one way to do that, and that is to tap into their culture and understand what's going on the ground. And that's really where anthropology gets to the grittiness.
Fantastic. Well, the two can coincide in a very mutually beneficial relationship. Claire Denham-Dyson, anthropologist at Demographica, thank you so much for stopping by.